Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh. Whew. And you probably think I'm exaggerating about the weight. Welcome to the Sansui Alpha 907MR. For anyone who doesn't know, Alpha series of Sansui are like the elite of Sansuis. That is like engineering wet dream, no expense spared, anything goes sort of thing. And they're just exquisite pieces of gear. And I am lucky enough to own one now. This is not in for repair or anything. This is my own unit. This is imported from Japan. It is 100 volts only. For anyone who doesn't know, I don't know if all the Alphas are the same, but these ones you can only get in Japan. This is 1995, 96 vintage. And believe it or not, Sansui made good gear past the 80s. And I guess the 80s weren't even that great either, but it was all kept in the Japan domestic market. So this thing is just amazing. It's 33 kilos of insanity. Moving it around is a real chore. It is so dense, and it's just a behemoth. You know, all this switch gear is billet, solid, and really nice action, really smooth feel, and it's just all solid. We've got a fully featured signal path where we can bypass the preamp, we can bypass the tone controls. We can do pretty much everything with this unit, and this is my attempt to find an amplifier that does everything. It has power, it has clarity, it has no noise floor, and it's just, I hope it is just like the end of my search for what I'm looking for. Anyway, let's flip this around. I'll show you the back. Well, if you like gold plating, you're not going to be disappointed with this amplifier. Everything is just, love it. Fully featured phono section. Weird that the moving magnet, moving coil button's on the back, but I guess that's okay. Guess it cuts down on the signal path as well. Direct power amp connections for two separate inputs, which is weird. Signal processor in and out. We have balanced inputs on a 96 vintage piece of gear, which is just amazing. We've got the specifications, and it's modest 400 watts, but this is like, I don't know, this feels a bit low, but anyway. But it's 100 volts, 50, 60 hertz. And we have these beautiful gold-plated binding posts that are very legit. They are not Chinese fakery. They do need some tightening. They've been used a bit by the looks of it. And we have these beautiful fasteners everywhere that are just fantastic. And a 300-volt power cord, so we don't need to mess with that. And that's made by Kawasaki, apparently, which is really odd. Yeah, lovely wood side cheeks as well. And I think we're going to crack the lid and let's have a look inside. Oh, all right, lid's off. Beautiful wood cheeks that cover the side. As with most of the 90s era, the Sony TA-N9000ES that we also worked on not that long ago had this as well. It's like Teflon tape. It's just everywhere. And this was a thing just in the 90s. I never really saw it in the 80s. I'm not sure why. I don't really buy into the vibration reduction, but hey, it's been done. They also add bitumen on this amplifier strategically in many places. Here, on the sides. It's also down in the transformer cavity. If you look down there, it's pretty nuts. And if you look down there, you can see a copper chassis as well, which is just, yeah, pretty crazy. The transformer made by Tamura, 13 kilos according to the specs I could find. It is big and it's dead silent. What we talked about in the previous video, the Stax video with the Sony and the humming transformer, nothing from this. It is quiet. I have tested this for quite a bit, about a week and a half already, just trying to get to know it a little bit, and it is a very impressive beast. Massive heat sinks, and the supply caps, which I'm sure everyone is drooling over already, are Silmax on this side. I think there's 4 of them, Silmac Golds. I've never seen an Elna Silmac capacitor in this size. They must be bespoke just for these Sansuis, I would say, because, yeah, the only time I've seen them is sort of in this sort of size. And, yeah, we've got these Nichicon best gold supply capacitors as well. And they do look like they're bulging, but I don't think they are. They're like oval shaped as well, which is really weird. But every picture I've seen of this amplifier looks like this, so I'm sure they're fine. And yeah, on the amp boards, we have all Silmac electrolytic capacitors, but these are also, Silmac wasn't good enough apparently, and these are Alpha series Silmac 2s. I believe they're Silmac 2s. Anyway, yeah, so they're not just your run-of-the-mill ones, apparently. I don't know if it's just a label or whatever, but very cool. This transformer is ridiculous. Look at this thing, could run an amp probably 5 times the size. And this is 160 watts per channel into 8 ohms between, each amp module. So, yeah, this is serious. Now, what are we planning to do with this? Well, I am not doing a ground up rebuild. I don't want to mess with this unit too much. I think it's probably perfection the way it is. And I don't think with the component choice that's in here, there's going to be much that needs to be swapped out. The plan, which I've already ordered everything, we're going to change all the trim pots for each channel. So there's 4 per channel because it's got a hell of a lot of adjustments. So we're changing those to Precision Burns multi-turn trimmers, and they were freaking expensive. They were like $12 each for this unit. So that's over $100 in trim pots alone. But it deserves anything. So it can have all the money it wants. And there are 2 trim pots in here as well, which you can actually calibrate the preamp, which I've never seen on an amplifier before. So yeah, we're doing all the trim pots for the calibration, because I do worry a little bit about vintage trim pots that they might short out and take something out in the amp. So we're doing that as a preventative thing. The plan is not to touch any capacitor in here unless it's deemed necessary. We will pull a couple of electrolytics in heat-prone areas, and we will test them to confirm that they are healthy still, but they will be going back in because I don't want to mess with the sound signature of this unit and how it sounds as is. The other plan that we are going to do to freshen this unit up is we will be pulling both amp modules, getting down to the output transistors, and we will be redoing the thermal interfaces. They have mica insulators with thermal compound. The plan is to replace them with, I think they're Burkhorst silicon pads. There's been a lot of talk about this on Audio Karma and whatnot, and I think I'm ready to give them a go. Apparently their performance is excellent and there's no messing with thermal compound. If we get down there and something doesn't feel right, I'll just reuse the micas and redo the thermal compound, but that's up in the air at the moment. But yeah, this is just gorgeous. And I to have this in my collection is just, I feel honored to be the caretaker for this thing for a while. And I hope I don't do anything to it. That's I hope it all just goes well, which is another reason I don't want to mess with it too much, because this is just too special to screw around with, in my opinion. We will get down though, and I think we'll mess with these binding posts and see if we can tighten those. But that looks pretty simple to get to once this amp module is out anyway. And we'll do that. There's one other thing I want to show you, which is the feet on this unit, because I've heard stories and I have to know. So let's flip it over and then we'll finish up. So, finally got it tipped over. Oh, this thing is just a monster to move. Teflon underneath all the feet. So, yeah, that's another attention to detail. The feet seem to be a suede or some sort of a leather. Really nice. But this is what I want to check. These things are heavy. And I have a feeling that these are over 1 kilo by themselves. Oof. So about 1.2 kilograms just for the feet. I love it. I think it's copper. It's either that or brass. I have to be brass, surely, because otherwise it would have tarnished by now. Absolutely amazing. And they're, Teflon insulators. Oh, crazy. Yes, the other thing I just wanted to show everyone, these outputs are the reason I don't want to screw with this too much. They are bespoke output transistors for Alpha series. They are from Sanken, LAPT or LAPT 2 and 3. They are fully copper instead of your normal silver jobs. Very high frequency. This amp has a massive frequency range, well in over 100 kilohertz. And these are, I could only assume, unobtainium at this point. So, yeah, you can see so much copper in there. They have a copper backplate, and the thermal compound actually looks pretty good. But, yeah, we're going to do it for my own peace of mind. And, this is the other thing about high-end gear from Japan. People look after their gear. Like, look at the bottom of this thing. It looks brand new. This is like what I see with Accuphase amps. Like they look like they've just come out of like a medical environment. They're just so clean. Actually, no, medical's not even that clean. It's just they've been babied their whole life. Yeah, so coming soon, a restoration video. We won't be doing it like methodical. I'll do what I can to record it, but I have to really be on my game to work on this amp, and I have to be focused on the actual amp itself, but we will do what we can in the videos. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this unveiling. This is quite an occasion, and I will see you in the next video.